Hi everybody. Right, don't listen to this one with the kids around, okay? So if there's kids around, please just turn this video off. That's fine. Come back to it later. Because I just wanted to tell you about the CPD that I just did. More of it. I am very, very, very pro evidence-based veterinary medicine. It's really important. I think it's really important for so many reasons. And most lately it's been highlighted for other reasons. So originally, obviously, the best reason for doing evidence-based medicine means that you're treating the patient in the best way, of course. But the other thoughts that have just mostly been sparked in my mind, largely by Hannah Capen's latest Canine Arthritis Management Symposium, which has been fantastic, by the way. I've been messaging her to tell her. Was that there's other thoughts as well. So, for example, you might make a choice to use something that doesn't necessarily work that well, or even well enough at all, and it might have actually a massive impact on the environment. So it could have an environmental impact and still not actually be helping your animal very much at all. How rubbish is that? And then obviously there's a financial implication. Of course there is. We've all got to watch our pennies. And then there's also the thoughts of, if you're spending your money in one direction, then what might you be missing that you could be using in another direction, without having that evidence to back up what your choices are. There was so many ethical conversations that came from this talk, and I thought it was just really, really cool. And then Brennan was the latest one that I listened to, and I could listen to him all day long. He was absolutely brilliant. And he was talking about evidence-based medicine, which I've done courses and stuff on before, but his way of explaining it was fantastic. And that was what I really wanted to come here and make sure I shared. And this is the bit where I said, don't let the kids listen, because he used the tooth fairy as the most amazing example of this situation. And what he was trying to say was, just because there's a paper written out there about it doesn't mean that it exists. So he had different questions he raised. Was, could it work? Might it work? And then does it work? And he separated all those things out, because basically what he's trying to say is there a plausible background before you even start doing a study to suggest that something even works? And if there isn't, then you have to question how good that study is. And where he went down the tooth fairy route, I actually went and Googled this afterwards, and I was mortified because he had just the point, case in point was made completely. He said you could find studies on the tooth fairy. You could ask questions like, how much does the tooth fairy pay? He used examples like, does the tooth fairy pay more to boys or girls? Or does the tooth fairy pay more for big teeth or little teeth? Those are all questions that sound quite valid in a scientific way. I did then go and Google it. And yes, I Googled how much does the tooth fairy pay on average? And yeah, there's stuff out there, plenty of it. Go have a Google. If you just whipped up, you'd be like, right, okay, the tooth fairy's right there. But ultimately, the point is that the question over the tooth fairy. So, as you can see, I have a young child, so I'm not comfortable saying these things out loud. But the point is, it was really, really raised sparks of thought. And where I'm coming from to come here to say this is just because what I want to say is just to make sure that whoever it is that's part of your care team is very much following evidence-based practice, and that evidence can come in many ways. And so I'm not sitting here judging or anything, because I can't sit and pull those papers apart. I mean, my goodness me, those papers require an amazing person to be able to read. Some of the papers may as well be written in Hebrew, and there's very clever people that sit and actually manage to understand everything that's written down. So all I can do as a practitioner myself is listen to the CPDs, which I'm clearly constantly doing, feeding back the information, telling all my clients everything I learn and hear, and I very much keep my head in the game, trying to learn all I can all the time about all of these things. And there are so many things out there. I can't possibly be reading all those papers. It would be impossible, like on the whole scope of mobility. Nobody could, and that's absolutely fine. So no one's expecting everybody to know everything, but having a basis behind you where you're trying to look for the evidence, and that you've got an open mind to understand why we're looking at the evidence and how it's best for your patient, I think is just really important. So hopefully that's just sparked your thought, and equally it helps you to start doing the thinking when you're trying to do your decisions and make your research on what choices you want to make about nutraceuticals, or what therapists you have involved, or all those sorts of things. That it's you that makes that decision, and so we want to help you and support you and back you up as best we can. And you all need to be part of that process, and it's okay for you to ask questions when trying to make a decision on how best to pick the therapy plan for your individual patient. And no two therapy plans should ever look the same, and that is totally fine, because there's a million reasons as to why. There is no one thing fits all. Cannot stress that enough. No one thing fits all, no matter what. And there isn't a single paper out there to try and say that anyway. They generally, as a rule of thumb, tend to say, oh, this is best. But we need to do more research. That's what they always say. Anyway, hope that helps. Bye.